Welcome to another week of Journey of One. This is a show where I travel around and do cool things around cities that I live nearby and see any cool things to go do and places to experience. It's called Journey of One because oftentimes I'll be doing it on my own, but that doesn't mean that always I won't have anybody accompany me. Sometimes the best way to experience something is when you're on your own, because then you don't have to be distracted by everybody else's plans and trying to figure out what they want to do versus what you want to do. Just kind of go do what you want to do, see what you want to see. It's a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. Let's begin the journey. This week, the entire country will be tuning in to watch the Oscars award show. I decided it was a great time to go visit Hollywood and some of the history and get a peek behind the scenes for the Oscars. I headed through downtown Los Angeles and the skyscrapers on my way down to the 101 freeway, which took me to Hollywood. I got off the freeway on Hollywood Boulevard, passing the famous Pantages Theater, heading to Hollywood and Highland, the epicenter of the Hollywood experience. All along Hollywood Boulevard is many famous venues, but also the renowned Hollywood Walk of Fame, where celebrities throughout the years have had their stars placed for history to come. I reached Hollywood and Highland and found the Oscar setup was already well underway. All the media was preparing and rehearsing for the show. Much of the grandstands for fans were already set up, as well as all the trailers I presume the presenters will be using. I also found piles of the red carpet ready to be rolled out. The Oscars will take place in the Dolby Theater this year and be hosted by Chris Rock, who I'm sure won't make any jokes about the all-white nominee controversy. The Dolby Theater is located inside Hollywood and Highland, the name of an outdoor shopping mall located on Hollywood Boulevard and Highland Avenue. It suitably has some impressive architecture and design features, in addition to the many fine shops and a water jet fountain for the kids to run through on a hot day. All along the walkway was this ribbon filled with famous quotes from celebrities throughout the years. Following the ribbon to the end led to a spectacular view of the Hollywood Hills and one of the best views of the famous Hollywood sign. Across the street was also the famous El Capitan Theater, next to where Jimmy Kimmel hosts his talk show. Like any touristy area, there are lots of lookalikes to take pictures with. But I was more interested in seeing the renowned Grauman's Chinese Theater, now named the TCL Chinese Theater. Here's where all the famous hand and footprints of stars are cemented into history. A tradition that started by accident when Norma Talmada stepped in wet cement and Sid Grauman got the idea, and it continues to this day. I decided to get a closer look and take one of the tours inside to get a little bit of a history of the theater. All along the walls and ceilings are hand-painted artwork. There are also many actual costumes from movies that showed here. Right now they feature Star Wars outfits. Many movies have premiered here, as the Chinese theater is an actual working theater. And that's partially because it's such a beautiful theater to be in, with more hand-painted artwork and sculptures all along the walls and ceilings. The theater itself is one of the biggest IMAX theaters in the world. I definitely want to come back and see a movie here on this massive screen. Next, I felt the need to actually see some celebrities, so I visited Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. That was right next door to the Chinese theater. Here they make amazingly lifelike wax replicas of celebrity, including this guy I saw just a few weeks ago. It really was uncanny seeing these wax replicas in person. So often I would turn and think there was actual people standing there. And the Oscars just wouldn't be the Oscars without Joan Rivers. They had stars from past and present represented there, giving a chance to see celebrities as they really looked that we'd not get a chance to see today. I love these two famous movie cowboys squaring off in a duel. I took a break to sit on a park bench. The guy next to me had some interesting stories to tell. Jim Carrey was kind enough to point me in the right direction to see a movie scene being filmed right before my eyes. It was tough choosing the best Bond when they are all lined up next to each other like this. Be sure to watch next week's episode to see this guy for real. They also had a few fictional characters shown, which were just as impressive to see. The area where they showed the process of making the wax replicas was a bit creepy, but they're all very impressive. Definitely worth a trip to see in person to get the full effect and to really see how amazing these replicas are. While I was in the area, I took the opportunity to check out Ripley's Believe It or Not auditorium, which is filled with incredible curiosities and bizarre people and objects from around the world. They had unusual artwork made of various objects, as well as a musical stairway I enjoyed a little too much. Their collection was packed in every room with curious objects, animals, and people from around the globe. There were also lots of fun interactive areas that let you explore things a little further. There were also many fossils and stuffed animals of strange creatures you wouldn't see in a regular museum. They had a screening area where they showed classic videos of oddities from years ago, as well as more than a few optical illusions. What do you see here? A vase or two faces talking? There were people who had strange bodies, including Kylo Ren from the new Star Wars movie. And this big girl definitely made me feel a lot thinner. For anyone who's seen the Lord of the Rings movies, I'm sure they'd be impressed by this recreation of Minas Tirith, made out of thousands of stacked wooden pieces that must have taken forever to build. They had a two-way mirror at the start of the tour, when on the other side I caught these two girls making some funny faces. Not to discount these amazing metal droids, but this piece of the actual Berlin Wall was much more interesting to see and to touch. If you go, definitely try and see if you can grab this ruby. I know I couldn't. They showed many interesting tribes with shrunken heads and a scene that reminded me of an Indiana Jones movie. Be sure to bust a groove in this psychedelic room where you're on the screen. That's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed it and wish that you joined me for my next journey.